It's Monday morning, and just like Waystar Royco themselves, I'm here for you. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hey everybody, welcome to Thumb Together TV. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Succession Season 2, Episode 6, Argestes, together. As usual, if you enjoy this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Throughout the entire run of the show, I think it's safe to say that I have never looked forward to the next episode more than I do right now. Succession isn't really one of those shows that ends on like big cliffhangers or anything like that. It's more of a down-to-earth kind of thing, so it gets you excited for the next one, but not in any sort of like, oh my god, I'm counting down the days kind of way, until Argestes. And we'll get there. Let's pace ourselves. So Argestes is this corporate retreat up in the, I'm going to say the Swiss Alps. I could be 100% wrong. Maybe the Rockies. I don't know. I feel like the Swiss Alps might be kind of overkill even in this case. But it's a place up in the mountains somewhere where the weather is pretty brisk, and these billionaires get together and pat each other's backs, I guess. Mingle, schmooze. Picking up from last week, Waystar Royco has the deal with PGN, and it looks like it's all getting set to be finalized. I mean, the papers are drawn up, they're ready to be signed, but then season 1 comes back to bite everybody in the ass, and by that I mean the scandals in Parks and Cruises, and apparently not even all of the scandals in Parks and Cruises. Back in the day, Parks and Cruises had scandals and cover-ups that included, rape, murder, things like that. This was a sexual assault / sexual harassment charge, and just one. So it's literally one morsel of a bigger sort of bunt cake of unpleasantness that Parks and Cruises has been trying to cover up. And New York Magazine has somehow gotten a hold of this morsel. I think the lady came forward, the victim, and now it's out in the open. And the whole episode is about something that I have been waiting to see since we found out about this in season 1. Waystar Royco, this sketchy company run by even sketchier people, trying to do damage control and save public face. Ouch. And usually Logan Roy is the kind of guy that this sort of stuff just bounces right off him and he just carries on with what he's doing. But this is the lowest we have seen Logan Roy in a very long time. He is not firing on all cylinders. He is upset. He's easily agitated. He's not in the best of health this episode. Usually he's pretty robust, but he's, throwing up in the dining room. He's obviously very stressed out. Everybody says it's the altitude, but I highly doubt that. Get it? I said highly because it's about the altitude. I'll stop. And he's letting his temper get the better of him. Logan Roy has always had a very, very, very short fuse, but we got to see just how explosive that fuse can get. Tom and Greg have this whole B story, which is just fantastic because everything with Tom and Greg is fantastic at this point, about the slogan for, I guess it's their cell phones or something like that, some part of their communications sector, where Tom decides the slogan should be, "We're listening." And considering that all these things do these days is listen and collect data from us, I know you can hear me. Don't act all innocent. It was a very poor choice of words on Tom's part, so he and Greg have this, last-minute brainstorm to try to figure out what to do next, and they land on, "We here for you," as in, we here for you. We're doing the work for you. It's fine. We're pals. We can hear, we'll listen, you sit back and be comfortable and enjoy yourself and let us take care of the hearing. And it's already kind of a dumb slogan to begin with, but then the fact that it was misspelled on the poster is just the icing on the cake. As I said, everything that Tom Wamsgans touches this season just seems to be turning to gold. It's just pure delight. It is pure delight to see Tom and Greg. I hope Tom and Greg run Waystar Royco by the end of it all. Can you imagine what that company would be like? But that is just the B story, and the A story is why we're here, and we're here because there's a ticking clock. There is a dangerously ticking clock. It's ticking quite loudly, especially in Logan Roy's ears. He needs Nan Pierce to sign that contract post-haste. And the longer she takes to sign it, the more likely it will be that she will see the article published by New York Magazine talking about the scandal back in the 90s with Parks and Cruises. Unfortunately, New York Magazine goes ahead and publishes, And we have the scandal out in the open, right there in the middle of this corporate retreat. So all eyes are on Waystar Royco, and it's like, oh, what's this about, Roy family? Explain. And we get to see Roy Damage Control at its finest? No, I'm not going to use the word finest because this was kind of a shit show. Thankfully, a cooler head prevailed, and by cooler head, I mean Siobhan. Thankfully, she was there to make all the right choices. I mean, first things first, she refused to just be a puppet, the token woman, as Kendall put it, sort of propped up on the podium. She refused to do that because she didn't have all the facts. She wasn't briefed, as she kept saying. And she didn't want to go up there and look like an idiot and talk about something that she didn't know anything about. That was a smart move. But then as she thought it over and realized, hey, if she doesn't do this, it's probably going to end up being a disaster, she made another smart move by changing her mind, by getting briefed, and by figuring out what she was going to say to contain this before it turns into a catastrophe. And for the first time, I think, on the entire history of the series, we get 3 of the Roy siblings speaking in public on behalf of the company, and it's a wonderful moment because all we have seen so far is behind the scenes. We rarely ever see the public face, the public persona of these people, especially like somebody like Roman. You gotta wonder, what does the public see of Roman? What's their image of this guy who we know to be a unhinged sociopath at the best times? So it's great to kind of get that little window where we're like, oh, this is what, all us schlubs on YouTube are seeing when we Google the Roy family and see what's what. And their sibling rivalries are still evident, even in public. They bicker with a smile, which is so delightfully quasi-diplomatic of them, up to and including Shiv being like, oh, it sounds like my brother's telling me to calm down. But it turns out kind of well. It turns out that they more or less kept the boat from rocking too much, and they walked away from that panel having maybe not diffused the situation, but certainly made it less of a concern until we get to that back room. Until we get back there and we see the aftermath and we see, we slip back into the behind the scenes of the Roys that we know so much until we realize that, hey, we did not know so much about the behind the scenes because it is worse than we'd ever imagined. Because guess what? Logan is pissed and he is fuming. You can see it in his face. He's fuming. And standing in the wrong spot at the wrong time, Roman starts to ream-out Siobhan like he normally does. He starts to tease her and berate her and be like, you really screwed that one up, sis. And that's when Mr. Logan spins around and backhands Roman so hard that the guy loses a tooth. Logan's 80 years old. He's an old guy. He's been around for a while. He's not a very pleasant person, and he's got a short temper. So I think we have all assumed going through this show that he would never hesitate when the kids were growing up to parent with his fists. I love the opening titles of Succession so much because of how just downright telling they are about what the childhood was like for these 4. I mean, this image, this says it all right here. This is gorgeous and haunting and kind of hilarious, but also kind of heartbreaking. We don't know where the ceiling lands on Logan's abusiveness. Was he just verbally abusive, as we have seen, or did it get confrontational at times to the point where, people walked away with more than just hurt feelings? And this tells me that it's very, very likely he was quite physically abusive, at least to the boys. I feel like he was trying to be, in his own sick way, protective of Siobhan in this scene. What's very telling is the way everybody reacted. Because the way everybody reacted, it gives me the sense that this is not a first-time thing. Roman, like most kids who suffer abuse at the hands of a parent, is hauntingly accurate. I mean, the guy cowers and whimpers away and, he's silent and he just doesn't say anything and he's just staring at the floor. And then as soon as his dad is out of the room, Roman stands up straight and is like, yeah, I'm fine. Whatever, I'm fine. I'm just going to go, clean the blood out of my mouth. I'm good, whatever. And he just brushes it off and runs away. And you can tell he is not fine. You can tell he is verging on tears, but he just hustles away before anybody can see it. And then there's Kendall's reaction, which really hit me because this season Kendall has been essentially dead inside. He's the walking dead. So for the first time in this entire season, he not only stands up to his father, but he gets in his father's face, points a finger directly at this still fuming, violent man, and says, don't you effing touch him. Don't you touch Roman. And that really tells me a lot right there. Like, that gives me more backstory than I could have possibly imagined. Roman is the youngest sibling. So right away, I just got the sense, just from the way Kendall was reacting, that this was a long time occurrence. This has been happening since they were children. And Kendall, being the older sibling, has always jumped to Roman's defense, even though he no longer cares about himself. But Kendall will snap out of that zombie state to defend his brother in a heartbeat. And I thought that was wicked. I thought, there it is. There is backstory that we might never get on the show itself. We might never get flashbacks or anything. But that tells us so much what is going to happen next. Because guess what? The deal's done, baby. Pierce wants nothing to do with them anymore. Looks like Rhea got fired. Logan is in the worst spot he has ever been. And now it looks like his kids might have it out for him too, once again. If you like this video and you liked hearing this crazy face talk at you for however long this has been, I'm going to guess 9 minutes and 14 seconds, then maybe hop on Amazon.com and pick up my book, Side Scroller, available in paperback and ebook. Side Scroller is a sci-fi adventure romance set in a world that runs on the logic of video games. I wrote it myself. There's me. There's my name. It's my pride and joy. It was a lot of fun to write. I promise you it's even more fun to read. But anyway, that has been Succession Argestes. That has been Thumb Together TV. I have been Andrew Fantasia, and you have been pretty damn swell. I will see you here next time, and until then, adios.